It appears that some major plans between TNA and WWE were shut down. We're going to talk about that. Plus, a top WWE star is being moved from Raw to SmackDown, and Tony Khan speaks about the original plans for AEW Grand Slam. Welcome back to the Angle Show, ladies and gentlemen. I want to kick things off with Tony Khan, and more specifically, the original plans for AEW Grand Slam. Tony Khan was speaking about this with Scott Fishman of TV Insider, and basically he says the original plans for AEW Grand Slam was to always happen on TV. He says that this TV event, having this be a TV event, was always the plan. That's something that the network wanted. It's something that the network brought to us recently as an opportunity to follow the NBA All-Star Saturday. We saw it as a huge opportunity. It was a great vote of confidence for our partners at Warner Bros. Discovery. It will be one of the biggest nights of the year on TNT. It's a great opportunity given the lead-in. The top bouts on the card obviously include Mariah May and Toni Storm, Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay versus Konosuke Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher. This obviously has a lot of people wondering quite a bit, to be honest. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I think AEW Grand Slam has been a failure. And I know this is where everybody starts to think that I'm being a hater, but the reality is this, guys. Originally a stadium show, obviously tickets couldn't get sold, so then they downsized to an arena. They're still having a hard time selling tickets, and that's kind of caused an issue, largely due to the fact that now they got to do buy two, get one free type of thing. The interest for the card has been very, very little. From the fans. But I do think that's part of the marketing issues that AEW has had. I don't think it's based on the product. I think AEW has not done a really good job of marketing this. I think once it was very clear that this wasn't a pay-per-view, AEW didn't really advertise it as much. So look, I'm going to be honest with you. I think this is kind of a blunder for AEW. I know that's going to bother a lot of people, but I'm not trying to pick on AEW here. I'm just being honest. I feel like, if you go back to my original video of when it got reported that AEW Grand Slam Australia was happening, I was over the moon excited for it. And obviously my opinion has changed because throughout so much time, it looks like AEW doesn't care about this event. I don't see it being successful on TV whatsoever. And that's largely due to the fact that it's going to have a very wonky time slot. I think when you don't air a PLE level show and it's pre-taped and there's a 23-hour tape delay or whatever it may be, I think that's problematic. I think they will definitely see that it is problematic. To me, this is going to feel nothing different than a Battle of the Belts, which is very unfortunate. That's going to bring us to our next topic on today's video, ladies and gentlemen. Alexa Bliss is being moved from Raw to SmackDown. This is what's really crazy, but I think this 100% confirms everything that we have been questioning and criticizing WWE for. PWInsider.com has reported that there are creative pitches for Bliss on the SmackDown brand. WWE has opted to move forward with the idea, and SmackDown is 100% the destination where she will be going. Now, what's really interesting here is the Wyatt Six were moved to SmackDown. So obviously, here's the thing, right? This was one of those situations where, the Y6 got moved to SmackDown, Alexa Bliss being moved on Raw, but she comes out with the Lily doll that shows the 6 stitched into the eye. It just simply didn't make sense. It wasn't something that should have happened. And obviously you don't want her on Raw if that's the case. And obviously they haven't used her on Raw yet. However, I do have to criticize WWE a little bit here. And obviously we're just going off of reports and not what they're doing on TV. But if WWE was really going to keep them separate, then why would Alexa Bliss come out with Wyatt 6 branded gear? And that's one of the biggest things that I would have to offer as far as my criticism goes. The Wyatt 6 is awesome. I love the Wyatt 6. They're not on Raw anymore. We need to see some momentum being built on SmackDown. And I think this is a good opportunity for them to do that, but they have to do that. If they don't do that, I think it is going to be incredibly problematic. You don't want people shitting on the idea of the Wyatt 6 when there is a lot of potential there and people actually genuinely like it. Triple H does this whole thing where everything's long-term, especially because the Wyatt 6 isn't on the main event scene, which I don't think it should be. But when you have when you have the Wyatt Six exist and then they're not doing much, at the very least, put them in the tag team division. Loomis and Gacy could be tag team champions. You could do something cool there. You don't need every member of the Wyatt Six to be on TV, is my point. With that being said, though, I do like the idea of Alexa Bliss also participating in the women's division. I think there could be a really fun storyline between the Wyatt Six going after Chelsea Green. I think there could be a little bit of comedy and a little bit of seriousness with that. I think there could be some fun stuff there. I think with the Wyatt Six being moved to SmackDown, though, there is a little bit less pressure on the WWE to get it right 100% of the time. And I also think there's a little bit of less pressure for Alexa Bliss to be consistently wrestling and stuff like that, because it's obviously not the A show. Personally speaking, I think this is the right move. I was not happy at all, as you can imagine, when we were talking about Alexa Bliss going on Raw. So obviously I am happy about that. But I can't believe WWE almost messed that up. And that brings us to our final topic, ladies and gentlemen. Josh Alexander in NXT. Well, there was some plans for it to happen, and Josh Alexander revealed that it got shut down. He was speaking on Straight Talk Wrestling, and he says that he was supposed to appear on NXT TV at one point, but things fell through. He says, I will say that there was one certain situation where I was supposed to go, and it did not happen. There were maybe 2 other situations where I was asked to go, and it got shut down for whatever reason that was. No hard feelings on my end. Now, what's really interesting, he says that there was a lot of stuff thrown at me at certain times, and whether it's true or false, it just didn't materialize for whatever reason. The timing wasn't there for it. Now, we know within a week and a half or so, Josh Alexander will be a free agent. We know that Josh Alexander on TNA just had Eric Young and the Armory, the Northern Armory, right? They just turned on Josh Alexander. We know that he was quitting the company. We know that he's going somewhere else. The question is Josh Alexander going to go to NXT or is he going to go to WWE? And the reason why I question this is because if Josh Alexander did have things presented to him to do things in NXT as part of the TNA roster, but then things are getting shut down, if that's coming from WWE's end, that might be a little confusing. That might be a little stressful. That might be a little annoying. You have to wonder exactly what's the play here. But Josh Alexander, top star. I throw Josh Alexander in the list of the best in-ring world champions that TNA has ever had. He's on that list 1,000,000%. He carried the company through some very dark times, and it's very important that he goes and gets the bag. So if Josh Alexander signs with WWE, that's awesome. If he signs with AEW, that's awesome. Wherever it may be, honestly, I'm going to be very happy for him, because take out the creative, take out the AEW and WWE booking decisions and stuff like that. There's just certain talent out there that are really, really good at what they do. They hold it down, and then for some reason, they don't get the respect that they deserve. And this is one of those circumstances where I feel like for him, he should go and get the bag. So wherever that may be, that would be a good thing. I do think he ends up in WWE at some point, but the fact that TNA and WWE couldn't find a way to use him in the partnership is actually very strange and very odd, considering that NXT's main roster men's division kind of sucks. So, let me know what you guys think down below.